Your finger is on the pump, 2 pumps into your palm. You dot it on your cheeks, your nose, your forehead, then you rub until it vanishes because that is what looks right. 30 seconds and you are done. The bottle says 50. But that 50 came out of a lab, under a layer much thicker than the one you just rubbed in. So how much was it really asking for? You did this an hour ago. A blob in the palm. Rub it in, lean at the mirror, check the jaw. The shine goes, the skin looks bare again, and bare is what done looks like, so the amount is the step nobody questions. But that number on the front is not something the bottle owns. SPF is a score from a test. And the test fixes how thick the layer on your skin must be, so the 50 describes a layer, not a product. Think of the fuel figure on a new car. That number is real. Someone earned it on a flat test track. No hills, no traffic. Your drive to work is not that track. The label never lied. It just answered a different question. This one is ours. It is the piece people screenshot, and it is on screen now. It exists because falling short is the norm, not the exception. The skin doctors at the AAD call using too little one of the most common sunscreen mistakes. So the question for the rest of this episode is not which tube you picked. Brand, price, finish, set those aside. The question is how much of it is on you right now, and that answer starts inside the test itself with one very small number. So here's the rule itself. The test lays down 2 milligrams of product for every square centimeter of skin. It goes on a marked patch of a volunteer's back. Then it waits 15 minutes before the lamp comes on. Therefore, every 50 on a US bottle was earned at that thickness. Think of a tin of paint. The tin tells you how far it goes, and that number assumes a proper coat. Spread the same tin over twice the wall, and it still looks painted. The color is there. The film is not. Therefore, thickness is the quiet term in the promise. But the rule writes more than one number. Turn a bottle over and read the drug facts directions. Reapply at least every 2 hours. Those are the FDA's words, not the brand's. The same rule fixes the layer and the clock. Therefore, the timing is part of the test's terms too. Therefore, the bottle was never describing your morning. It reports one measurement, taken under one condition. The filters were chosen for you. The number was printed for you, but the thickness is not. That part is yours. So, how much do people really put on? But the real world got measured too. 2 researchers pulled the studies on how people use it outdoors. Real use came out at about 0.39 to 1 milligram per square centimeter, against a test layer of 2 that is a fifth to a half. Picture the mesh in a screen door. Now stretch it over a window twice as wide. Same thread, same amount of it. But every hole is bigger, so a thin layer does not shave a bit off the top. It opens gaps. But their conclusion is the part that travels. Put on less than the test used, and you get less protection than the test measured, so the number on the front is not a lie. It just describes a thicker layer than yours. But resist the tidy version. You have heard that a 50 behaves like a 15. It is everywhere, and our own blog post says it too. The trouble is, dose and SPF do not move in a straight line, so we will not hand you a made-up number. So the takeaway is small and honest. It is a direction, not a figure. Thinner layer, less protection, and the fix cannot be a figure either. It has to be an amount you can see in your own hand. So take that lab figure and make it something you can hold. The skin doctors at the AAD say about 1 ounce, a shot glass spilled to the top. Not for your face, for all the skin your clothes leave bare. Poured out, it looks like a lot. But the face gets its own number, at least a teaspoon for the face alone. A teaspoon is about 2 fingers laid end to end, your index finger and your middle one. So the measuring tool is already stuck to your hand. Trouble is, hardly anyone gets there in one pass. Using too little sits on the Academy's own list of common mistakes, so stop aiming for one perfect coat. Go on thin, then go over it again. The second pass is what closes the gap. So our own Don't Friday plan puts the 2-finger rule right on the page. It is up front, where you will actually look, because a rule you can see beats a rule you have to remember. Therefore, the clock counts as much as the amount. Every 2 hours once you are outdoors, and straight after a swim or after you towel off. The layer leaves before the day does, so the other half of this is putting it back. Let me name the fear first. Benzene turned up in sunscreen, and the headlines were ugly. But benzene is not a sun filter. It never was one. It came in on the parts that do no work at all. Thickeners called carbomers. Isobutane, the gas that pushes a spray out of the can. So, aerosol cans showed the highest levels of any format. But then the story moved. In 2025, Consumer Reports tested sprays again. It could not detect benzene in the ones it checked, so the scary word is no longer the reason a spray lets you down. Here's what a spray really does wrong. Picture painting a fence on a windy day. From where you stand, it looks covered. Walk around, and the far side is bare. A spray in a breeze is the same trick. It fails on how much lands, not on what is in it. Though the AAD spray advice is really a mount advice. Hold the can close, lay down a heavy, even pass, then rub it in, and never spray straight at your face. Mist it into your hands and pat it on. This is the one place where the format really matters. Even here, it only changes how hard the dose is to hit. It never changes the dose. January 17, 2025. A brand pulls its own sunscreen off the shelves. 4,834 tins of SPF 50 mineral cream. But this one was not a chemical scare. The cream in every tin was fine. So here's our write-up. The tins may have shipped with no drug facts panel, no barcode, no directions, therefore nothing on that tin told you how much to use or how often to put it back on. Picture a bottle of medicine with the dosing label peeled off. The medicine inside is still good, but the only part that told you how to take it is gone. Therefore, the missing label is the flaw. That is the whole recall. But the tier tells you how serious it was. The FDA put it in class 3. That is their least serious box. Therefore, this was a usage problem, not a safety scare, and in the US, sunscreen is sold as an over-the-counter drug. So that panel is where the dose and a 2-hour rule get printed. Here's what a stick gets right. It goes on over makeup. It fits in a pocket. Your hands stay clean after, so the usual excuses for skipping the next coat all go away. But dose control is where it gives ground. You cannot see a shot glass of a solid. One swipe lays down far less than a fingertip of cream. Our own stick ranking covers 137 sticks you can buy today. It says, in its own words, that sticks tend to lay down too little. The stick at the top of our ranking is a Korean matte formula. It uses modern sun filters that hold up in light. It has no added scent, and it glides over makeup. We scored it 89.25 out of 100. But the same solid shape makes dose per area harder to control. So here's the fix, and it is the most useful line in this whole episode. 4 passes back and forth over each area, then rub it in. It is buttering toast. 1 drag leaves stripes, so you go back over it until there are none. So a stick is a great second coat, and a risky only coat. Our page for the stick prints both halves of that. Use it over a cream or a lotion base. That is where it earns its keep, at midday and over makeup. So here's the answer, in order. About 1 ounce for the body, a shot glass, at least 1 teaspoon for the face or 2 fingers of product. With a stick, 4 passes over each patch, then rub it in. Notice what is missing. Nobody asked you to buy anything. But here is the tempting wrong turn. The next number up looks like the fix. It is a small step, and you pay for it. The tube in your bag holds the bigger one. You just put more on, about 10 seconds. So we built a page you can keep, a reapplication cheat sheet, desk, beach, hike, commute. Each one gets its own timing and its own amount. Screenshot it once. Then you never work this out while squinting into the sun. Think of it as a serving, not a splash. Nobody wastes their cereal, but everyone knows a bowl from a handful. A shot glass is the bowl. A quick smear is the handful. So the amount becomes a habit, not a sum. So here is the reframe to take away. The number on the front is not a promise. It is a reading, taken at one thickness that a rule spells out. That thickness is the only part that was ever yours. So how much was the bottle asking for? A shot glass for your body, 2 fingers for your face. With a stick, 4 passes over each spot, then rub it in. That is the layer the test used. The 50 on the front was never a promise about your day. It is a reading, and you set the thickness. Then do it again in 2 hours. Our stick ranking is free to read.